In this video, we're going to talk about why I think that Jackie Gleason was wrong for wanting to sue the Flintstones. Jackie Gleason was so furious about the Flintstones that he considered suing. He thought it was a straight-up rip-off of the Honeymooners.
And all that money!
But was he right? Were the Flintstones a rip-off of the Honeymooners? Did he have a case? Well, let's look at the facts like Perry Mason or Matlock, or maybe Joe Friday from Dragnet. Just the facts.
A real riot you are!
Both the Flintstones and the Honeymooners are considered two of the greatest sitcoms of all history, even as far back as the Stone Age of television.
Oh boy, I love this program.
Jackie Gleason got to the point where he was asking his lawyers about suing Hanna Barbera.
Okay, big mouth. So what if I don't pay?
And his lawyer actually told him he could probably have the Flintstones pulled off the air. But was he right? Was the Flintstones really that much of a ripoff from the Honeymooners?
You and your snide remarks.
Hanna Barbera, as most fans know, often based their characters on famous actors and what was popular at the time. But let's look at what the Honeymooners and the Flintstones really had in common. The Honeymooners featured an overweight, married man, hard-working bus driver named Ralph Kramden. The Flintstones featured an overweight, married, hard-working man named Fred Flintstone. Fred worked in construction and operated a dinosaur. Totally different from a bus. Ralph was ill-tempered and kind of loud.
You are a blabbermouth!
And so was Fred.
I'd like to see you try that again, wise guy. Fred, I ought to sue you.
Ralph had a best friend named Ed Norton, and Fred had a best friend named Barney Rubble, of course. Similar, but hey, everybody has a best friend, right? It's not that unusual. They did kind of sound alike, even though they didn't look anything alike. Yogi Berra looked more like Ed Norton.
Sheesh.
Barney was short, Ed was tall, or at least as tall as Ralph. Barney and Ed both liked to throw around a few insults about Fred and Ralph's weight.
That ought not to be too hard. You've learned how to swallow everything else.
Hey, you're too fat, Fred!
Both Ralph and Fred hated their mother-in-laws. Correction, my wife says it's mothers-in-laws.
No, mothers-in-law.
Mothers-in-law.
Look where you're going, clumsy.
I love my mother-in-law.
Ralph and Fred did both belong to very similar type clubs. Ralph and Norton were members of the Loyal Order of Raccoons.
Brother Kramden, Brother Norton is a nut.
Fred and Barney belonged to the Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes. Oh, and both clubs had weird hats. Both Fred and Ralph were always into get-rich-quick schemes that always failed. Barney and Ed are both good-natured friends that find themselves pulled into these schemes.
Fred, what's the matter, Barney? Get off my back!
Wilma and Alice were level-headed wives that patiently put up with their husbands' get-rich-quick schemes. In both shows, the wives were close friends as well. Both Fred and Ralph liked to bowl and play pool.
Bowling bag full of... I mean a bowling ball bag.
Both men liked to stay out late annoying their wives. But now let's look at the differences. The Honeymooners was set in present day for the time, but the Flintstones, of course, were set in the modern Stone Age fantasy world.
They're the modern Stone Age family.
This alone might have made the Flintstones a legally protected parody or satire. Of course, I'm not a lawyer. But at the time, parody was a lot less defined than it is today. The Flintstones had dinosaurs. You know, Gleason should have brought back the Honeymooners with dinosaurs to make things even. Fred had his own catchphrase, yabba dabba doo.
Yabba dabba doo!
Ralph and Alice, his wife, lived in a small apartment, but the Flintstones actually lived in a small house. Or was it a cave house? Or a house made of rock?
Out, out, out!
The Flintstones and the Rebels would both one day have children, something that the Honeymooners never actually accomplished. The Flintstones had their own, sometimes very annoying pet named Dino. The Honeymooners didn't have a pet, at least not one on a regular basis. The Flintstones evolved and grew as they went.
Gazoo, help! Barney took my coat like pebbles again!
Future episodes even introduced a green magical alien named the Great Gazoo. Of course, that was the last season. The closest the Honeymooners ever had to a spaceman was Ed Norton. So what actually stopped Jackie Gleason from suing?
They were 6 of the most miserable years I ever spent in my life.
Well, his lawyer told him, "Do you want to be known as the guy who yanked Fred Flintstone off the air? The guy who took away a show that so many kids love? And so many of their parents love too?" And apparently Jackie thought it over and decided against it.
I'm a mope.
William Hanna was quoted as saying, "The characters I thought were terrific," talking about the Honeymooners. "Now that influenced greatly what we did with the Flintstones. The Honeymooners was there and we used that kind of a basis for the concept. I used to watch the Honeymooners and laugh until tears would run down my cheeks." Joseph Barbera had this to say about it: "I don't remember mentioning the Honeymooners when I sold the show. But if people want to compare the Flintstones to the Honeymooners, then great. It's a total compliment. The Honeymooners was one of the greatest shows ever written." On a side note, Hanna Barbera actually hired some of the writers that worked on the Honeymooners, but it didn't work out because they didn't write in enough sight gags. For an animated series, you need a lot of those. And they ended up having to let them go.
Pow! Right in the kiss.
The Looney Tunes did straight-up parodies of the Honeymooners. In Half Fair Hair in 1956, Bugs Bunny met caricatures of Jackie Gleason and Art Carney, who were basically Ralph and Ed, if they were train hobos. Daws Butler did the voice of the Ralph and Norton characters, and coincidentally he did the voice of Barney Rubble when Mel Blanc couldn't do it after his accident. He also voiced the Honeymousers trilogy, where the Looney Tunes did a parody of the Honeymooners Has Mice. And by the way, he also did the voice of Yogi Bear, who sounds a lot like Norton.
My name is Huckleberry Hound. What? Huckleberry Hound. Okay. And I also am a bear. I'm Yogi Bear.
My name is Dixie, and I'm on the miserable Mises he chases.
He's a one-man zoo here.
IMD states that Gleason tried to block the first Honeymousers, but after he got to see a print of it, he dropped his objections.
I'm the king here, remember that.
So my verdict is, Gleason did not have the moral right to sue, regardless of what the legal outcome would have been in this case.
Now, how are we going to get an audience to believe that?
The similarities were there for sure, but you shouldn't really be able to copyright generic characteristics like large angry man with a well-meaning friend and neighbor who likes to get into trouble with get-rich-quick schemes. I mean, just imagine if Gleason had sued everyone that had been inspired by the Honeymooners. That series has probably influenced half of all classic TV sitcoms in some way or another.
Heads I win, tails you lose.
When you're one of the first and you're good, you do have to expect that people are going to try to copy you. And that's just a form of appreciation and love.
It's a happy man that grins.
Well, what do you think? Was Gleason right to be angry with the Flintstones, or did the Great One almost make a huge mistake? Please subscribe, hit the like, comment, let me know what you thought about the video. If you'd like to dive deeper into the Flintstones or the Honeymooners, check out my other 2 videos on the Flintstones Goofs and Mistakes, and the other one on the Honeymooners Goofs and Fun Facts. If you haven't seen those yet, you will be amazed at some of the neat stuff you missed while watching these classic TV shows.